Hi friends, it's Dr. Natasha here. Welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be showing you a recipe for a quick and easy Korean inspired short rib dish. This dish is gluten-free, it's dairy-free, it's paleo, it's autoimmune paleo. If you want the recipe, just click on the link in the comments and you can download the recipe. These are our short ribs. I'm going to get them started in the Instant Pot browning. So while they're browning, I'm going to show you what the other ingredients are, and we're just going to throw everything into the Instant Pot and it's going to be ready to go. These are kind of small for short rib pieces, but I have 8 pieces of short rib here. Start the Instant Pot here on sauté, and we want to get it warm, and we just want to brown the meat at the beginning of this so that we can seal in all the juices. We're going to be using some toasted sesame oil in this recipe. That is not AIP compliant, so if you're trying to stick with autoimmune diet, then you can just substitute any cooking fat that you like. I would recommend, if you are going to substitute a different fat for this, using lard or bacon fat that you have, or tallow would be really great too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with, this is on the sauté setting. I'm going to start by putting all the short ribs in here, and I'm going to be flipping them on their sides. So we just want to start by browning the meat. This is just going to take a couple minutes. I am kind of just throwing everything into one pot, filling it with some broth and water, and pushing play. I'm going to set it and forget it. For this amount of meat, for about 2 pounds, I'm going to be doing half of an onion, 4 cloves of garlic, and if you're rushed for time or you really don't want to prep the garlic, you can just throw the cloves in, which I'm going to do. But in addition to that, I chopped up 2 more cloves of garlic just to get that flavor out of it. I also have about an inch of ginger here, which I've also minced up. So we're going to put about a tablespoon, maybe a little bit more, because I have a little bit more than 2 pounds right here. We're going to put a tablespoon of fresh ginger in there. And then I have a pear. I like to use Asian pears for this recipe. I just like the flavor of them. They're kind of like a cross between an apple and a pear. But if you can't find an Asian pear, you don't have one. I just happen to have, I don't know what this is, like a golden pear. I don't know exactly what kind it is. I just chop that up. It's already pretty ripe. It's going to add a little bit of fruitiness and a little bit of sweetness to the rest of the recipe. Just a second, because this sauté setting is super hot. So all it needs to do is just touch the bottom of the pan briefly, and you've already started to see the meat is browning. We don't really want to cook it at this point. So I'm going to flip it so a lot of the bones are at the bottom. I can also flip these ones that have a lot of fat, put the fat on the bottom so we can render that out while it's cooking. Next I'm going to throw the onions on top. All of this garlic, I'm going to put it all in there. So I'm going to put 4 cloves, because these are always a fun surprise. I'm going to put about a tablespoon of ginger. And then I'm going to throw all of these pears in. So if you want to be completely AIP, autoimmune paleo compliant, you can use coconut aminos. It's kind of like a substitute for soy sauce. You can also, if you're eating soy, I would recommend getting Temari, which is gluten-free soy. So this is organic Temari. The flavors are slightly different. They kind of do the job, but coconut aminos are a little sweeter. So I'm going to put 5 tablespoons of that in, and I'm going to do half and half. So I'm going to turn off the sauté because we don't want the meat to cook. So that's about 5 tablespoons. Now the Temari is a little saltier than the coconut aminos, so you want to modify how much salt you're putting in because of that. And if you're doing AIP, just omit sesame oil and use a little bit of lard or some other fat. But we're going to put sesame oil in. Now there's organic, just regular organic sesame oil, but we recommend using the toasted sesame oil. You can get an organic version in a jar. We really like this one as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of that to the dish. This is a fat, but it's also got a lot of flavor. It's going to give it that Asian cuisine profile. Next, we're going to add some apple cider vinegar. We're going to do 2 tablespoons of that. So there's 2 popular fish sauces you can find in the market. There's this Thai Kitchen one, and then there's Red Boat. The Thai Kitchen one does have sugar in it. The Red Boat one doesn't, so I'm going to use the Red Boat one today. We're going to do 3/4 teaspoon of the fish sauce. So this is no MSG added. The final liquid that I'm going to put in there is a broth. You really can use any broth that you have. I'm going to use a chicken broth today, and actually a ginger flavored chicken broth. So that's going to fit nicely with the profile of what we're already cooking because we have ginger in there. So I'm going to put half a cup of broth in there. Mine was in the freezer and it was defrosting in the fridge overnight, so it's kind of slushy right now. So I'm going to put half a cup of that in. And actually, because I have a little bit more meat than usual, I'm going to put a little bit more. And the final liquid that I'm adding is just some water on top of this. So I'm going to stir this around. We've got quite a bit of liquid in there, as you can see. But what I want to do is I just want to make sure that the meat is covered so we don't get any dried out meat. Just kind of move everything around a little bit. And I'm going to pour some water, just some filtered water, right on top here to submerge the meat. On the meat stew setting, and you can put this for about an hour or 90 minutes. I'm going to do it a little bit higher just so I get really tenderized meat. And you know, this meat is already super high quality, but I really want it to fall off the bone. So now that it's ready, it's going to come to temperature, and we're going to put the lid on it, and it's going to start pressure cooking. So that is what it looks like when it's ready to go. Then when you take it out after it's done pressure cooking and you release the steam, you can remove the meat and actually reduce this broth or this liquid that we've created here and create a really delicious sauce. And for serving suggestions, if you are doing any grains in your diet, I recommend a little bit of white rice. We really like organic basmati white rice. So I'm going to make this Persian style with some saffron and coconut oil and salt. And then we're also going to serve it with just a mixed green salad. And of course, we're going to have our fixings like kimchi and pickled daikon. So that is within about an hour to an hour and a half, we're going to have a full-blown dish that is paleo, gluten-free, dairy-free, even AIP compliant. Oh, forgot, at the very end here, we're going to toss a little bit of salt in there. I hope you give this a try one night. It seems like a very complex flavored dish, but it's actually super easy, especially if you have these ingredients in your house.